Hey guys, James here again. This is what if Luffy had the lightning fruit. And basically in this one he would have Enel's Goro Goro no Mi, and this one Enel would not have the Goro Goro no Mi, he wouldn't have it over at all. I'll go over how he takes over Skypiea still. But yeah. Alright, basically Luffy's life is basically the same until he chases after Ace. If he's into chasing Ace, he would find the Goro Goro no Mi. For the remaining 9 days of the 2 weeks, he's able to actually control his fruit, so he doesn't fire off lightning randomly turn into it. He's able to stay physical in form, and even at least develops one attack, being a Go-Go and Pistol, enhanced with lightning, as he worked on that for a long time. But yeah. But eventually Luffy was chasing Ace one day. Well, Ace realized Luffy was chasing him and actually looked for Luffy without going to Sabo. Sabo found Ace looking for Luffy. And the two found Luffy kind of like turning to lightning and not turning lightning, as an old man would train with him. This old man would hit Luffy. Luffy has turning lightning on reflex, with this old man hitting him constantly. Eventually, they finish watching, only for Ace to be grabbed from behind by a giant man with long white hair. Ace could let out a yell of shock as this man tried to cover his mouth. But then another man with, brownish skin and very greasy hair had kicked Sabo down the hill, not seeing Nagari or Luffy down there. Luffy immediately jumped and caught Sabo at speeds faster than lightning, and looked up, seeing Ace being taken away. Luffy jumped in the air before yelling, "Goru Goru no, double." As Luffy swung his leg out, and basically did a double strike, kind of like capoeira, kind of like a capoeira kick, but two of them. And as soon as it hit Blue Jam, sent Blue Jam right into Porchemi. And Ace was able to dodge before Blue Jam crushed him and Porchemi. Now this, Ace was saved, and Luffy just ended up kind of jumping around guys, being able to turn intangible, as they're slower than Nagari. So yeah. But eventually he's able to take them all down, but it's still pretty hard to retain the lightning form after turning into it for a while. But yeah. Now, this from here on out, Blue Jam. Nagari will train Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. And, he trains him for a while until Sabo doesn't know Luffy's powers. He knows what Luffy's powers, even goes into the Great Terminal. Goes into the Gold Kingdom, and is able to kind of grab books on weather, kind of grab anything that has some relation to electricity or lightning itself. And forces Luffy to read them, saying that lightning is probably one of the most dangerous forces on Earth, if not controlled. And Luffy has that harnessed in every single cell in his body. If he even has cells anymore, since he can just turn into lightning. Pause. So Luffy would read basically books on, I would say weather, weapons, and combat techniques. Also, Sabo would have Luffy kind of like test out metal in your terminal to actually know what conducts and what doesn't conduct electricity. Also, we'll notice that Luffy's body probably can function a lot more. The fact that his body is rubber, and that lightning kind of just passes by it. So this actually gave Luffy the ability to create somewhat of lightning barriers or shields around his body or in his muscles, basically around everything in his body. The point where Luffy basically now is indestructible. His skin can be bruised and all that, but he can't get internal damage, even if he could with Haki. The fact that Luffy has everything inside of him reinforced with lightning around it, because everything inside of him being rubber, because every ounce of him is rubber, well, everything kind of bounces off of him. So Luffy has his muscles, his tissue, all that kind of reinforced with lightning. So all the damage is either kind of shot back, or it's just simply just not there, because people can't really have enough damage to destroy lightning unless you're a top tier fighter. Like unless your feat's like cutting lightning like Kakashi would, you're not getting through Luffy's body at all. So yeah. And when it comes to Sabo's death, Luffy's always out training with Sabo, or just on the shoreline training with Ace or Nagari, who at this point Nagari actually left. So Luffy with him always training was able to see Sabo about to be killed. But Luffy being able to react instantly fast, was actually able to die and catch Sabo before Sabo's hit again. And Luffy ended up throwing a lightning bolt at the Celestial Dragon, blowing up the whole upper half of his ship, but no one saw who did it. Luffy eventually decided that the best option was actually to jump into the water and just be engulfed by the smoke. Sabo was able to actually have him and Luffy swim to the shoreline again. And no one knows to this day who tried to kill the Celestial Dragon by Gold Kingdom. But long story short, Celestial Dragons never go there again. They learn their lesson. After a 7-year-old tried to kill them, They don't know it's a 7-year-old thing, but they know someone tried to. But yeah. Also, Luffy kind of snagged Sabo's flag, knowing it would draw suspicion, especially because of Garp. But yeah, so Sabo is able to set sail on like 2-3 months after Ace does, and yeah. Now Luffy himself set sail. They actually plan on kind of having a ship that can somewhat run on electricity. So Luffy uses lightning powers to actually kind of enhance technology in the city by actually conducting kind of eternal. How phrase this? The city kind of had eternal electricity because of Luffy, and he acted like as a battery for the whole island, basically. Making the island one of the more technological advanced islands, is the best way to put it. So yeah, with this island being a giant tourist attraction because of Luffy's powers, and even some nobles respecting Luffy's power set, and especially Fuchsia, who's the main trading option, Luffy gets a lot of money here and there. Point where Luffy's able to have a ship made that actually has an engine, but can also be kind of run like a boat, or can actually just sail with sails. So yeah, Luffy's ship that he has is probably about the same size as Enel's Maxim. So yeah, Luffy has his own thing going on. But also, there's a whole room on the ship dedicated to straight training. So yeah. Also, this room is kind of immune to attacks that can hit with the Force Lightning. So yeah. Now Luffy would use this ship as he kind of calls it. Kind of just calls it the going Luffy because he doesn't know what else to call it. This Luffy has a bit better intelligence. It's just he's a bit. One thing different about this Luffy is he has knowledge but doesn't act like it. But also is a bit more arrogant. Like I'd be arrogant too. So yeah. I'm gonna go over all the possible techniques by the time he's 17 basically, so 10 years after he got his fruit. But Luffy's more arrogant since he can now actually turn it into lightning on reflex, because well, one, he was trained by a hockey user and beaten by him almost every single day, with hockey imbued attacks. So yeah. So Luffy had to learn somewhat predict attacks. So he'd already tapped into hockey before. It's just he has to learn a bit more. So yeah, you can turn on lightning off reflex. You can teleport as well, which is not really teleporting. It's kind of just using electric currents in people or objects, and going to that current. It kind of travels to people or objects because they have electric currents. So you kind of goes from current to current. So in a battle, he's very useful because he can go anywhere he wants to. So yeah. You can call it teleportation if you want, but more or less, if you're not someone like Kizaru, who probably can actually turn off his reception logo user, and a good one in fact, who probably doesn't have electric pulses, but instead it's just be like, oh, sand pulses, light pulses. Yeah, Luffy's only weakness to teleportation is literally probably a Paramecia or a Logia user. But then again, this guy's power is so honed that Logia users and Paramecia users still are susceptible to his attacks. So yeah. Plus his knowledge surroundings are so great to the point where he actually has some fire-based attacks via collateral damage, which he does not use too much. He has respect. So yeah. Also, the man basically cannot die, as if his heart were to stop, his body instantly restarts it until he actually fully wakes up. So yeah, he actually trained himself to do that. Like he stopped his heart and made sure his body kept making it beat until his full body went back to motion. So yeah. And he's physically immune to basically every kind of damage unless you're a really strong hockey user, because the muscles are kind of coated in lightning shields or armor, whatever you want to call it. He has great knowledge or analysis of his surroundings because he's forced to learn what can conduct, reflect all kinds of electricity, what object would enhance or ruin his attack. He learned a lot about that. So yeah, he's a master of using daggers, as he coats his hand in lightning and uses them as swords or just knives or daggers. But his fingers are more or less the daggers. He also uses a staff made of pure lightning as well. But also with his teleporting punches or kicks, Sabo suggested that he needs to learn technique with them. So Luffy would use boxing, judo, taekwondo, and capoeira. He uses those four martial arts combined into his power. So yeah. Oh, what else? Oh yeah, he doesn't need oxygen, as we see in Nell. He was able to breathe in space for, well, it took it to, he went from the moon. He went from Earth to the moon on his Maxim, and he didn't have a coating or anything around it, just himself. And hold up. Yeah, Nell's been in space with no helmet for, I think it'd be 2 years now. Uh, I'm not surprised. Yeah, Luffy does not need oxygen at all. Like she's like, "Oh, I'll take all your oxygen." He was like, "Cool, I'll take your island," and that's all. That's all he needs to do is just say, "Oh, you want to take my oxygen? Cool, I don't need it. I'll take your island," and that's all he does. So yeah, but yeah, he has teleporting punch, kick, headbutt, stab, and jab, being like he jabs you with his staff or hits you with his staff. He has a thing called lightning hurl where he throws lightning balls as well. He chucks them like cannonballs. So yeah. But Luffy, when he's 17, basically kind of just goes around and eventually finds out his crew, and the crew would see how big Luffy's ship is. They think he's some big shot pirate, but then he's just a kid. They think he's a nobody who happened to steal a ship. Alita tries to intimidate Luffy till he appeared right in front of her and punched her so hard she has some flying to some island as in cannon. But Luffy hit her speed of lightning, which dealt a lot more force than usual. So yeah. Luffy then yelled, Goru Goru, not Goro Goro or Gomu Gomu, Goru, combination of Goro and Gomu. Who'd yell, Goru Goru, pinball. As he suddenly turned into basically a ball of lightning, slamming in between people, slamming some of them flying all directions. Eventually, Vito's whole crew as he sees Kobe crouching in the corner, shaking that Luffy may kill him. Luffy actually invited him on his crew for some food. Kobe agreed as Luffy threw him aboard, and Luffy himself jumped up, and they head to Shelltown. When they get to Shelltown, they're pretty much chilling out, and Morgan saw the giant ship arrive and immediately wanted to throw hands with Luffy because he thinks he's a pirate. Well, not thinks, he knows he's a pirate. So he arrived immediately ready to attack him. So this was when Morgan strolled down, seeing Kobe and Luffy. Well, he tried to use his axe and slash out on Luffy's head, and then trying to cut his head in half. But Luffy simply made like a staff of lightning, made the lightning tip into a spear, and just had to go to jab, stabbing Morgan clean through the chest with it. Well, not in the chest, but kind of stabbing him with it still. And yeah, plus his and goes even faster. Luffy kind of has like a gear second form still, and uses that speed. And a gear second, we're like, what if the speed boost for gear second is? Add that, it's like times gear second, multiplier by lightning. So hold up. Yeah, Luffy moves at billions of miles per hour without even trying, making him literally probably the fastest being in the verse besides Kizaru. So, yeah, Kizaru's like the only man faster than Luffy. Yeah, no one's driving this man to hits at all, because he uses the gear second in tandem with his attacks. Like, he's always constant of gear second if he were to use his Goro abilities. So, yeah. This man mops all of Shelltown by himself and then lets Kobe stay after taking Zoro with him. And Zoro saw Luffy body the whole force of Marines here by himself. So yeah, him and Zoro then had to basically just Orange Town, where Luffy still saves Nami from these two from Buggy's crew. And as the guys slash at Luffy, their weapons kind of get caught in Luffy's chest before Luffy conducts electricity through them, shocking the guys to the point where they do like the whole like cartoony, that you can see their bones and all that. But eventually he would stop it as they're just going to kind of hit the ground as smoke emits off their bodies. He pulls the sword out of his body as Nami's like, I'm wondering how he can do that. But then coats his sword in lightning before throwing it at Buggy immediately. And Buggy thought, oh, easy, I'll dodge this. So then Kabuto kicked Buggy. Buggy's like, what are you doing? Kabuto's like, that was a stab. You're meaning the slashing, not stabbings. Also, people don't seem to realize that. Like, Buggy sure makes it hard for him to be cut. Stab him, see what he does. Stab him immediately. A paper cut, he's immune to that. I'll give him that. I had the PSATs today. I have like four paper cuts. That shit hurt. But yeah, yeah, Buggy was saved by Kabaji, but Luffy appeared in front of Kabaji, kicking him into the ground. And Zoro arrived fighting Moji and half of Buggy's crew. Luffy just said, "Oh, go to rail." Or basically just uses one hand and would use a multitude of jabs, moving at speeds of billions of miles per hour, summoning the whole side of Buggy's crew, destroying them all, giving Luffy the victory. So yeah. But yeah, for this, you're probably going to Nami joining him now because Luffy's moving so fast that she's not even comprehending it. So yeah. And honestly, do you guys need me to even cover the East Blue? For Kuro's whole thing is, I can move really fast. Luffy's whole thing is, I can move billions of miles per hour. That's nothing. Yeah, Luffy's simply just that fast. Yeah, this time I saw Kuro's techniques like, oh, I can move that fast without using lightning. Cool. Just kidding. I already knew that. And he would kick Kuro so hard that his head almost came off. Yeah, Luffy destroys the East Blue opponents with really no difficulty, gathering his crew as well. I'm be honest, like, this Luffy probably just runs through the East Blue enemies, kind of like, I would say... How to phrase this? Imagine Gear 5 Luffy stomping through every arc until Marineford, where there's maybe 6 people there who could contend him and probably still won't win. 3 of them being the admirals. The only people I'm confident in beating Gear 5 Luffy that were at Marineford are Sengoku and the 3 admirals. Garp, let us see his hockey skill first. I'll give him that. Like, we need feats for Garp, but for Gear 5 Luffy at Marineford, I'll give it to the admirals and Sengoku. So yeah, Sengoku's Buddha form is honestly overpowered, and he can keep Luffy at a distance, so... Yeah. So Kaido is just... Sengoku uses basically shockwaves. Kaido uses physical attacks. So yeah. But other than this, yeah, this Luffy pretty much clears out the East Blue opponents with really no difficulty. Like Kuro's crew was defeated by Luffy in just one go, at the point where he didn't even have a plan. He just says, "Oh yeah, I'll handle it." Yeah, when Kuro's crew arrived, Luffy's crew was kind of watching the shadows of Usopp. He's like, "Can you really beat them all?" They said, "Yeah, this man would just use go to rail again and just slam Kuro's crew into oblivion." Next arc, Brautier. You know that Krieg declared he'll be taking over the Brautier? Luffy just tapped him as lightning went through his whole suit. Luffy can roll lightning in the suit and say every single weapon Krieg had. Then eventually had so much lightning in the suit to the point where Krieg began getting electrocuted, and eventually all of the gold kind of melted. But then he used another type of electricity, sending Krieg flying to his own ship, and that's the arc right then and there. Luffy didn't fight Mihawk though. That he's not a swordsman. He can just use one. It's just not like he can use a sword pretty well. It's just he never uses one. So yeah. Yeah, but Luffy just runs through Krieg's crew pretty easily. What else? Yeah, Arlong's crew, they're fish facing intense heat. Hold up. Yeah, Luffy's lightning is like 1,000 times normal lightning. And normal lightning can reach 50,000 degrees. So if we were to use what I said in literal terms, tack on 50,000 with 3 zeros. So 50,000, 500,000, 5 million, 50 million. 50 million degrees Fahrenheit versus fish. Actually, let me put that in Celsius for you guys. Hold up. So Luffy has 50 million degrees Fahrenheit in terms of heat, which would be, I believe, 27,777,760 million degrees Celsius. Versus slightly enhanced fish. Yeah, Arlong's crew does not stand a chance against Luffy. Plus, Luffy can actually heal Zoro by kind of cauterizing his wounds. So Zoro had medical treatment earlier. Also, his wounds aren't bleeding out when Arlong reveals them. Also, Zoro being a lot more in better shape actually beat Arlong to a standstill, including Hachi, Karubi, and Chu. You beat Arlong's whole crew, then push Arlong, Chu, and Karubi to their limit, while still being able able to leave without getting hit by them even once. He was just exhausted. So when the actual battle happened between Luffy and the crew, Luffy saw what Zoro did and just said, "Oh, okay. Goro, lightning toss." And he just simply throws a lightning bolt down on Arlong Park, and turning it all to ash. Only person that escaped was Hachi, who saw Luffy conjuring up lightning and just decided to escape. So yeah. But yeah. These blues basically just a wash for Luffy. Smoker. Who realized that Luffy's a much better Logia user than him, and Luffy's even faster than him, but also has better reflexes. Luffy's better than Smoker all around, besides IQ. And only IQ. Like, battle IQ even goes to Luffy. Smoker is literally only more book smart than Luffy is. That's about it. Other than that, Luffy is dominating Smoker. Yeah, Smoker is nowhere close to beating Luffy. Same for Buggy. Buggy never even got Luffy up on the platform. This East Blue is honestly just a wash for Luffy. But we probably go to Whiskey Peak 2 being a wash for Luffy, where Mr. 5 probably isn't a chance either. Because Mr. 5 tries to attack Luffy. Oh, wait, no, Laboon first. Again, Laboon, Luffy simply just punched him once, and there was a fight right then and there where Laboon was just unconscious. But yeah. He didn't die, though, so Laboon's okay. Luffy just knocked him out for like a minute or two. Yeah, now back to Whiskey Peak. This is only where the opponents are Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine, where Zoro helped fight. Then Mr. 5 used bombs on Luffy. Luffy revealed that he's a Logia user, so the bombs are passing through him immediately, just off his body's own reflex. Mr. 5 realized that Luffy's probably the same level Logia user as Crocodile is, and was he has no hope of winning. So when he tried to retreat, Luffy simply just kind of picked his booger, saying, need attack. He flicked it right at Mr. 5, and as soon as it hit him, it basically was equivalent of lightning bolt hitting an average human. The explosions, the flames, the impact damage itself, killed Mr. 5. Yeah, the Mr. Valentine was just cut down by Zoro. So yeah. But I'm going to end this part here, just the simple fact that it's going to be boring, but also it's late. So, yeah. Now, if you guys want, just ask for part 2. The story will not be interesting until Skypiea. After that, it'll be boring again until Marineford. So yeah, just look forward for Skypiea and Marineford. And Wano. And Holy Island. Adios.